Welcome to Rich Keys Trading Channel, where we unlock one candle at a time. Please pay attention to the disclaimer on your screen. And with that out of the way, let's get into the charts. Welcome back, traders. This is a special request on TIAUSD.T, Celestia token crypto coin. And this is a special request that I was given to analyze and share my perspective. So this is just my view, okay? Nothing, not financial advice, not saying go buy or sell tier. I'm just giving my technical perspective on tier. All right, so tier has been in a downtrend, and obviously most cryptos, especially the altcoins, have also been in a downtrend. Now, where we've come to currently, this a low, this a low, this a low, this kind of a bounce from this low, and now we're consolidating right here. So I see all this as consolidation with the support somewhere around this level. 1.59 is kind of a base. Now, I want to analyze the lower size first because on the higher time frame the trend is down. So I'll later see what the bullish case scenario is. So what I'm analyzing now is the bearish case scenario. All right. So the bearish case scenario is that you've made a lower low, you bounced up to make a higher low, and then you're consolidating here. Logically, technical analysis um, basis would say that okay, you either want to come make either an equal low. That way, like you form a double bottom if you're looking for reversals, right? So you either can make a double bottom, or the assumption is that between here and here, um, the divergence has played itself to here, and now this is a higher low, right? So most of the reversals usually occur with some form of a divergence. So if you look at this low right here compared to this low here, and there is a divergence, and you say, okay, the divergence here pushed us off the base. So we are off the base, we've pulled back, and this is your higher low. And then from here, your expectation is that once this level holds, then you're going to break this high to say that there's a trend change. So the first thing that we want to note is that for this to make any trend change, we want price to come up to 2.18, this level, okay, break above and close above here. That could signify some form of a change occurring. It might not necessarily mean a complete reversal, but a change is occurring. So that's the first thing I'll look for in the case of a reversal. Now, currently, as I look at my indicators on the weekly chart, this low and this low does not give me a clear divergence. The divergence we had was from here to here. Then we went up and then we came down low. Now, this low here, technically is about equal low, in my opinion. It's not like a higher low on RSI. When I compare it to see whether MACD had won when we came here, no. This was your previous MACD low. This low is lower than this, so there isn't a MACD divergence as well. Let me zoom up on MACD chart so you can see clearly. So this was your previous pullback low. We went up and then we came down. MACD did a lower low. So I wouldn't call that a divergence. Now, where we are currently here is a higher low. So even though you can see RSI is at this level, because it's also at a higher um, low, this RSI is not necessarily giving you a divergence. So nothing significant on the weekly in terms of reversal. And again, I do rely a lot on my cycles. They're pretty much helpful. We haven't put in a cycle low yet, and the cycle hasn't turned around. Now, if you get a cycle turn around somewhere here, like what we had here, or when the thing crosses like this below this 20 level, even somewhere around the 20 level, if you get a crossover, it's quite significant. But we don't have a cross yet on the weekly. So I'm still looking at this from the bearish context based on the indicators I just showed you. Now let's step down to, oh, and then one more thing on the weekly before we go to the daily is this trend line here. Okay. So the other thing that would give you an early indication of a change, as I was saying, is that you want to be able to come above 2.18 and close above. Pretty much for me, a bigger response as to a trend change is on the weekly. You want to see a candle open and close above the 21. That you get that 21 break, open and close above it, and you know it gives you some confidence. Doesn't mean it's solid reversal in place. But like what we had here, so we came here, we pushed right above the 21, but then we had rejection of the 50 period moving average. So if you at least you're able to go above the 21, that is confidence that there's something changing. Currently, as we look, we're not close to the 21 at all. And this trend line here is the one that you might want to watch to see if we are able to open and close above it. Then you know at least something is happening under the hood and you could be preparing yourself for it. Um, with that, let's step down to the daily chart. Actually, before we step down to the daily chart, I always like to look at the midweek chart as well. So that's a 3D chart that I use. So the 3D chart, all you can see here is choppiness sideways pretty much. Price action is stuck between here, 2.008 and 1.58. Pretty much that's where price is stuck. We could go all the way up to 2.14 and then we could come all the way down to 1.5. That's all that is happening. Very choppy, very sideways. Nothing really concrete when the thing is sideways. You can't really predict whether it's going up or long. But all I can tell when I see consolidation is that people are accumulating, either accumulating to the upside or accumulating for the downside. It's just not one that you could tell whilst the consolidation is happening. So on the 3D chart, nothing significant to share. Um, Usually when it's consolidating, you realize also that RSI is just bouncing around the 50 mark. It might go up to maybe 60 something, then come back down to like 40 something, 30 something. It just goes around the zero line for a period of time. All that tells you is choppy consolidation moves. Um, in terms of cycle, you're almost at cycle low, but not quite as here or here. So, potentially your cycle could push down a little bit before you could get some form of a bounce. Good thing though on the 3D chart is there's momentum building up. As you can see, this is your low RSI, and it looks like there's some amount of momentum building on the midweek chart, suggesting that once you hit your cycle low, there's a potential that you might get some moves, towards the upper side. But that will all depend on whether this is sustained, this level is sustained, or this level gets broken. If this level gets broken, you can be quite sure that things aren't going to look, this thing could just stay flat right here, like just like what it did here. So just right he did here, it stayed here for who knows how many weeks, starting from May 31st all the way to like June 21st. The cycle was always staying low, and meanwhile price was gashing down. So still bearish on midweek in my opinion. And when I finally step to the daily chart, you know um, the daily chart is not looking promising also. So still this resistance line that I showed you from the weekly is still intact in place. So you might want to probably look on the daily chart and see whether this is able to make a break above this level of 1.89. Then you could say, okay, something is changing. But I do get this level being defended for a minute. We came to it once, bounce, we've come to it again, and we are kind of bouncing off of it. But I think this is going to break it eventually. The reason, as I was saying, is here you don't, your cycle low has already played out and now is making its way up in terms of the cycle. Now we at mid-range cycle, Mid-range cycle, you could consolidate while cycle catches up to the 70. Sometimes too, you might just get a shortcut where it doesn't even make it to the 70 and it turns right around the 50 mark. So again, on the daily, nothing here suggesting a turnaround. The one good thing that was happening on the daily is the bullish divergence that was spotted earlier on today. But I think that divergence, it has possibly played out. Okay, where you have your MACD histograms above the zero line. Um, yeah, I think this might have played out already, you know, and I think the divergence on the daily chart um, was coming from here to here. I pushed it up, and we have come down, down, down here. Got some support, and we have pushed back. Now I think this is going to come down to probably target wise. Target wise, we'll be aiming for this area first, 1.34, because it's actually within the Fibonacci extension of the 0.382 zone. This whole zone from here until you get here, that's the whole zone. Just that I put a line, but it's a whole area. When you use the Fibonacci extensions, it's not always exactly to the line. So here we came to the 0.382 fib extension level on the way down, and I think if this should pull back down, it's definitely going to retest this area first. Right after it tests this area, depends on the patterns that are printed. Your next target is somewhere around here, 1.2347. um, and if the market should crash, when I say the market, I mean the crypto market should crash, then you want probably be looking at somewhere around the 1.027, 1.0276 to about 0.8127. Now I don't know when we'll get there or how we'll get there or when we'll get there, but it depends on what happens when we break this interest zone here. So this level here is very important right here. This 1.34, 1.3541, this level. All right. So I think I'll look at the 4 hours to give you my short-term perspective, and I'll wrap up this video before it's already 15 minutes. Goodness, time runs fast. So on 4 hours, if you look carefully, you kind of forming, you actually do have a double bottom on 4 hours. Right? This is your previous bottom here, made a higher low, and you went up, did your uh, manipulation moves by the market maker, and now we have come back to this level and we are bounced. Now, is this bounce done, or this bounce is going to continue itself into the higher target? I think this bounce might be done in the interim. The reason because we have a cycle high on 4 hours and RSI is coming down. Momentum measured by MACD is also pouring down. So yeah, even on the 4 hours, I don't have a rise target. So that's my take on Bitcoin. Tia Celestia is what I was looking at. Yeah, I don't have an upside target at the moment until we break above, my condition, open and close above this level is even significant, which is somewhere around 1.69. You need a candle that is able to open and close, not just get into that level, but you want the whole body of the candle open and close above that level. That could start to significantly change the structural dynamic of tier. All right, it's already almost 15 minutes. I thank you. Have a great trading session. Cheers.